And welcome to Desk of Ladyada.
Hey,
Merry Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
It's me, Lady Ada, here at my desk. We're not officially back, but we're just doing a quick stream.
I don't know, kind of like we're back.
We're back.
We never left.
Yeah, I kind of think. Yeah, I'm back. Me, Miss Lady Ada, Mr. Lady Ada on camera control, baby Ada, resting peacefully, hopefully, for the next 15 minutes.
So we bought this thing. I think it's called a Mogwai. We can't get it wet. Can't feed it after midnight. No sunlight. So far, so good.
It only wants to feed after midnight.
So far, so good.
Okay, so let's see what's on my desk because I have done some electronics.
Yeah.
First up, the Scorpio board, which somehow took a year for me to wrap up, is in the shop. We are finishing testing them up, but they are going to be available next week. So if you want to get your own 8-channel PIO Scorpio board, it's the RP2040 with the feather format, and then it's got a STEMMA QT connector over here and an 8-channel level shifter to level shift 3 volts up to 5 volts, and 8 channels of PIO output where the pins are consecutive on like a byte boundary. So it's really great for, we designed it specifically to run NeoPixelate, but anytime you need, 8 channels of buffered output to control LED strips or I don't know, like, DIY Ethernet controller, HDMI, whatever. If you want 8 extra PIO outputs on your feather board, you can do it here. And then, like I said, we designed it for NeoPixels, but you can also change the direction and level from 5 volts to 3 volts and from output to input. So if you want to turn it into a logic level, a logic analyzer with 8 channels input, so you could like pump it to I'm trying to think, like, what's the name of that logic analyzer that people used to use? Like,
Sailor?
No, Sailor. It's like Logic Pump or something. Anyways, there's
Pump?
there's a couple of open source ones. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head because I didn't sleep a lot last night. But you could probably program it to do that as well. So it'll be in the shop next week. So one of our final products of the week. It's also, I know you wanted me to bring out this this mask.
Oh yeah, we had some projects and stuff. So
I can't really see, but
yeah. So this is the eyes that we make.
This is the Halloween M4s, 2 of them.
And then I was reading this thing online. It's probably not true that the reindeer that actually would have pulled the sled were all female reindeer, because those are the only ones that have the antlers at that time or something like that. So that kind of changes the mythos, I think. But anyways, this is a cool project that you can make. And
I think the batteries are not.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they're red light. There you go. Look, Rudolph's going okay.
Yeah, but they're supposed to be blinking.
Oh yeah.
They're creepy. They're just staring.
Whoa. Quietly judging.
You know what? I think that the wires came loose. These have been sitting on a shelf for like ever. Oh yeah, the ground wire was all loose. Let me see if that helps. Oh yeah. There you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's
now they're
cute.
blinking. This is the Monster Mask M4s with 2 glass overlays and shoved into a mask for wearing on Christmas Eve or something. I don't know. Anyways, you wanted me to bring this out, so I got it out.
Yeah, because it's there's so many things throughout the year that have eyes.
Yeah.
And you can make almost anything come to life. This is just an off-the-shelf mask, and then we added an LED and we added the eyes.
Yeah.
You do lots of stuff.
All right, so
All right,
I'm gonna put this away now.
Yeah. Look.
No, it's cool.
That's the project.
We're gonna scare the baby later.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to my overhead. Now we can actually look at some electronics. So one of the projects I've been working on is a lot of the TFT boards that we've been putting into the store. During the chip shortage, I couldn't get TFTs, and then I found a TFT supplier that was different, and then we're like, well, I got the TFT supplier that was different. Some TFTs changed, and I was like, if I'm changing them, I'm going to revise the board. So I added iSpy connectors to a lot of displays. I actually don't think I have a display on my desk right now, but in the shop, you'll notice a lot of the older TFT displays that we've had, the breakouts, have been updated to add an iSpy connector. And then for some of the smaller displays, Like this is a 1.14 inch 240 by 135 TFT, which I really like using in my feathers because it actually kind of fits perfectly onto a feather. The other thing that's annoying about this TFT is it's designed to be hotbar or hand soldered. Like this, you paste it on and you very carefully either use a solder tip, either a fine one or a really wide one, or a hoof style. Sometimes that works well, and you sort of drag solder it. Or if you have a hot bar machine, you can hot bar it on. It's very inexpensive, and what's nice is, of course, it's very flat. After you solder it, you can tape it down and then put the screen on top, and then the back is completely available. The only problem is it requires a bit of hand labor, and it's kind of easy to mess up. Like a lot of people, we train people how to do it, but it's like if they don't do it for a while, or new folks need to be trained up. And it's kind of annoying, it takes a while to do. It's an annoying skill. And so I thought it would be good to revise these boards to instead use, instead of the hand solder version, to use, let me see, this TFT. So I got some samples, again, from a new TFT supplier for the TFT that instead of hand soldering has a FPC connector. So you have to redesign the board, of course, and the FPC connector can't be on the same side because it wouldn't sit flat. So it has to go on the opposite side, which means, it's a little bit more of a complicated layout. So let me see if I have the design here. So, for example, this design got shifted around. So you'll see, the level shifter went from SYC to TSOP, right? So that gives me a little bit more space. And then the SD card slot changed somewhat significantly. So it used to be a push-pull design. So, sorry, a push-push design. So you would put the micro SD card in and you'd push it to eject it, and this ejects and flies across the room and you lose it. This is a Molex, it even has the part number, 220823D. It's a Molex, Molex connector, and it's a pull-pull. So you push it, you push. It's not a push-push, it's a push-pull. So you push it in and you pull it out. So it doesn't fly across the room, but it doesn't have that nice, like you can eject it very easily. You do have to yank it out. But that does give me a little space for this FPC connector. And then you can see there's a slot through the board to the other side. So this tester, let me see. This is the tester we use. And let me see the SD card. So the good news is that the tester works, the screen actually works perfectly as is. It's like the same screen. I have to tweak the orientation a little bit, like the FPC. It's very hard to get the math right for like getting it to line up perfectly. So I just like push the display footprint down about 1 millimeter. But it otherwise works. It's reading an image off the SD card and displaying it, and then it's pulsing the backlight. So you can see it's working very nicely here. And then another screen that I wanted to do is actually a revision. So that was the 1.14 inch TFT. So I'm just going to put that away because these all look so similar. So the other display is let's see. This is the 1.14. Sorry, they all look so similar as I mentioned. This is the 1.14, 1.14. Okay, so the other one is the 0.96 inch display, which is very similar. This display actually I couldn't get anymore. It became discontinued, and this was also a hot bar design. So you can see on the back, it's got the SD card, it's got the level shifter, but unfortunately, again, like I said, this display I can't get anymore. So this is what it looked like originally. And then it was like, it got revised and the TFT like tripled in price, and then the company didn't have them, and they did have them, and then the lead time was 30 weeks. And so I said, like, fuck it, I'll deal with this later. And then again, now I'm like, okay, now the TFT prices are reasonable and I can get them maybe with an FPC connector. I have to redesign the board anyways. Let's also make it so you don't have to hand solder it. So this is what the screen looked like before. And this is the test you could see is displaying this adorable little Adabot. And so the display replacement, unfortunately, well, there's a couple things going on. So the display replacement does have an FPC, so that's nice, right? No hand soldering. It's a little bit thinner, so you can kind of see it's the same resolution, but doesn't have. It's a couple millimeters thinner, and it just doesn't have as much like a black bar at the top and the bottom. And the other thing, and like I said, like the other one, I don't have enough space for a big push-push SD card, so I use a push-pull, the Molex one. And then this one I also have to like change, the outline, like I realized was totally different. The only thing is that it's, I don't know if you can tell, but the display, first up, is flipped upside down. And also the green and red are swapped. So that's the MAD control register. There's MAD, which is the orientation and also the color order control register. It's kind of the register that sort of does like all of the oh, is it flipped? Is it upside down? Is it red, green, blue, swapped, whatever? So that's different. I mean, luckily that's a very, hardware-wise it works, but the software is going to have to update. So we'll have to document how to select if you happen to have the old display versus this new one. Because again, I can't get the old display even if I wanted to. So this will be a bit of a bigger revision. This display, the 1.14, thankfully, is the same physical shape and also the same MAD control, the same orientation and color order, which makes things easier. These are all ST 7789s, I think. Yeah, which is, a very popular chipset. Again, it's very easy to control and configure, and we have a good library for it in Arduino, CircuitPython, and we also have a Linux kernel driver for it. But, especially the 1.14-inch display would be great to just not have to do all that hand soldering anymore. We saw a lot of these, and I don't know if I'll be able to update it for the feathers, but the feather wing, I'll be able to update it to use FPC connector. And I want to do the same thing for the OLED. I got a sample of an OLED with I2C FPC connector instead of, you can see the hotbar soldering. So, again, I'll have to tweak the design, but there's a lot of space that can be, you can see there's a lot of empty space. I can shove things down and use an FPC connector instead of hotbar. Cost of the PCB will be a little higher, but the overall labor cost will be a lot lower. So that's what I'm doing on the FPC front. Anything about that? Any questions before I move?
No, folks were kind enough to let me know that only one of the audio channels was coming in, but I fixed it.
Great.
So that was good. And then
Cool.
Folks are happy to see us back. We never left.
No, we've been here.
We just had to.
We just weren't broadcasting.
We just had to do a couple of things first.
Yeah. Okay. And then another thing, in the meantime, while we've been taking care of a baby, TAC did a lot of work on the RP2040 host, USB host bitbang. So if you recall, a couple months ago, a bunch of, I think, Japanese folks wrote a PIO USB host driver for the RP2040, so you can, it normally only has one USB port, which you would use for programming it, uploading it. Now, this port can act like USB host, but I can't stand it when people have USB host projects that use the main USB port, because it's you can't debug it. It's really, you have to unplug it to reprogram it. It's just you need to make sure your power goes the right way. It's a pain. So what's nice about this USB bitbang is you can use any two pins. They are just consecutive. Now, it does use every PIO, and it does use an entire core. But that's not actually such a big deal. Oftentimes you'll use only one core for your main program anyways. It's not super bulletproof, but USB has retries and stuff. And maybe just don't drive NeoPixels that when you need PIO at the same time. So we got that working, and it's also been integrated into the TeenUSB Arduino library, so that this RP2040 can connect to mass storage and CDC, USB, and HID as well devices over USB, this USB bitbang host. And I'm using that because, I talked about this a couple months ago. We have this tester brains that we use for programming pretty much all of our microcontroller boards. It's can do DAP, SWD for SAMD21, SAMD51. It can do AVR ISP for at megas and AT tinies. And then for the RP2040, it would use the USB host, and it would like drag and drop that UF2 file over USB host to program the RP2040. That's great and all when you can get a Teensy 3.6. You can no longer get Teensy 3.6s, and I won't be able to get them maybe before 6 months. Now, we had a stash of like 30 boards, but first off, they do sometimes get broken. People misuse them. They are testing while they're drinking coffee or something, and they spill. Or they just, the testers, the board under device under test does something really horrible, and they can maybe backflow current in. So, they're not, we do need to have some backup for emergencies. But we ran out, and we can't get any more because of this chip shortage is still affecting Microchip and NXP. So it's really important for me to be able to replace this brains tester, which used the Teensy 3.6 with an SD card for the file, USB host, and then this GPIO control and a LCD for debugging, with this new brains board, which is also fully surface mount, other than the piezo, and then of course you have to solder in the headers for this and for this, but the USB host port and the SD card and the button and all this stuff is pretty much all SMT compared to the old design, which had a lot of through-hole parts, which meant it required a lot more work. You'd have to actually put it together. This I can have 30 to 50 run on the pick and place, pump them out, and we can quickly update all of our existing testers. So if I plug this in, you can see it's it can find USB ID. It can find RP2040. I have to figure out that the timing is still being a little bit iffy. You can see it has some text, but there's some gobbledygook. I don't know if it's a PIO or core thing. Yeah, it's a little bit messy. But over here you can see it programmed the test code into this macro pad over the USB. These are just the reset and boot select pins that it toggles to put it into boot mode. The test code says, please turn all the knobs, please push the knob, and then it communicates over USB CDC to tell it that it's done. But yeah, I have to work on, I don't know why, this is kind of weird why it's a little jiggly jaggly. Sometimes it's, yeah, like, see, sometimes it's okay. It's like, okay, I found the USB HID, and then, yeah, it has the text. I don't know. I got to figure that out. The NeoPixel background color works fine, but something about the LCD text, it's weird because it seems to be some collision between when I'm using USB, that's when it affects it. I might have to, first off, make sure that there's no GPIO collisions, like, accidentally data is being written to some of these other GPIO pins or to the memory I'm using for the LCD. Or I might just have to slow down the LCD bit toggle. Like, it could be that the RP2040 is fairly fast. It's also being run at an odd speed. It's running at 120 megahertz, not 133, and I don't know if that's affecting the timing. So I might just add some delays to the LCD to make that. It does work, but again, you can see not every time. But the hard part, the USB host stuff, does work. So if you want to check that out, it's in the Teeny USB Arduino library, and I think it's in a branch. Actually, no, sorry, it's in the main branch. And there's a couple examples, one for mass storage, one for HID, and one for USB enumeration. There's no example for CDC yet, I think, although maybe there is by now, because THach was working on it before Christmas. So it's pretty exciting, because it's very hard to do USB host on affordable microcontrollers. Again, like, very few microcontrollers have 2 USB ports. Only, the teensy was one of the few that did. But the RP2040 is $4, so it could be cool to have HID translators, or if you want to read files off of mass storage or write files. For me, I'm just using it for this tester program, but other people might have a use for it. So I'd like to see what people do with USB host control on the RP2040.
Okay, someone's looking for a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi breakout.
Yeah, I don't know any Wi-Fi chipsets that are 5 gigahertz at this time. Maybe Realtek's, maybe the Amoeba was 5 gigahertz, but I don't know if it really was 5 gigahertz. I mean, like, you're not going to be able to transmit data faster. It's still SPI or whatever as communication.
Okay.
Okay.
You got anything else?
Nope, that's the desk.
Okay, so our plan is to resume hosting some of the shows. You know, our team's been co-hosting and hosting the shows shortly. A lot of people are on vacation, so we took a bit of a break ourselves so we can get ready for a big, giant, exciting 2023 together.
Yes.
We're going to do some new product videos, and we've been posting up lots of little shorts every single day. So any social network that's out there, including Mastodon. We've been on Mastodon since 2017.
I know, you're OM, original Mastodon.
We liked it before it went mainstream. We liked our first album. So, anywho.
To boost your toot?
Yeah, so we're everywhere, so we'll keep posting these videos up. We have a lot of hardware we've been working on, so check it out. And we'll be doing a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of exciting things that we can't wait to show you.
Yay!
It's gonna be super cool. Check out the Scorpio board. That's another kind of big deal. And then hope you got everything under your tree.
All the chips that you can, maybe all the unavailable chips.
And you know, supply chain stuff is getting a little bit better. China's going through their COVID waves, so that'll probably have some ripple effects, but we'll let everybody know how things are going. And I'm looking forward to doing some real worlds where we show products that are back in stock. And if there's any chip shortages, we'll do a chip shortage. Thank you very much, Lady Ada, for guiding our sleigh tonight. See everybody next week.
Do reindeers make any sounds?
I think they scream.
Ah!
And we'll see everybody. Let's see, it'll be next week.
Maybe next week we'll try.
Pretty much a New Year.
Yes, it'll be New Year's.
Yes. Okay, bye everybody.
Okay, bye everybody.